Parents of Reddit, what is the best weird flex but okay moment you've seen from your child? My son told me he doesn't need school because he already knows the name of 10 dinosaurs. My son started second grade this week. A couple of weeks ago the school sent out postcards with the date and time of the open house and his teacher's name. I asked him if he was excited to be in Mrs. So-and-so's class, and he said yes, but he's also worried. I asked what he was worried about and he said what if she falls in love with me and wants to marry me. I laughed and reassured him that he needs not worry, since she's already married. Kids' brains are so amusing like that. I remember being 8-9 and super stressed out about one day needing to get married, like lying awake at night worrying. The reason? Well, when you get married you kiss the bride afterwards in front of everyone and I didn't know how. Never did occur to me that if I was getting married that problem would have sorted itself out a long time prior. Our kids. When I was an after-school tutor for primary school kids, I excused a boy to the bathroom. He came back telling me he made the biggest poo in the world. He intentionally didn't flush so that I could come look at it. I told him that was great, but it was our time. He said his big poo was art. My kid wanted company in the bathroom the other day. Then he said, "I love pooping," with a sigh of contentment. When my son was about 5 we went to visit relatives in the Washington, D.C. area. We were on the metro when my son eyed a very pretty professional young woman. "I've got a lot of blocks," he told her. "If you come to my room I'll show you." Then he made motorcycle noises for about 10 seconds. I saw the Austin Powers movies when I was 5. They very quickly became a favorite, and I emulated Austin for years. I would hit on basically every waitress, babysitter, au pair, nanny, etc. One babysitter said, and I quote, "He's like a 40-year-old man in a 7-year-old body." A friend of mine had 2 young boys. The older one, maybe 5, was sitting with him and pointed at her white hair and said, "What's this, Papa?" My friend said, "Oh, it just means I'm getting old," and his son looked at him dead serious, looked at his brother and said, "Well, I guess it's just us and mom soon." Huh. I was climbing trees with my 6-year-old niece when she asked me, "How can you climb trees if you're so old?" To which I replied, "I'm 27. Then she said in a sympathetic voice, "Wow. Your life is half over." When I was 6 my absent father came back into my life briefly and I paraded him around all of my friends bragging, saying, "This is my dad." I bet you thought I didn't have a dad, but I did. He was gone again within a month. LMAO. Capital F. My son, 4 at the time, was, I guess, trying to impress the 6-year-old neighbor girl. He leaned casually on his arm and said, "I have lots of accidents. Pee and poop accidents. I hope for his sake his pickup lines improve." When my son was 5, a waitress at Applebee's asked him how old he was, to which he exclaimed, "I'm 5 and I pooped today." I think everyone within 4 tables of us was very impressed. My dad took my daughter out to eat once when she was 2 and the server asked if she was ready for ice cream and she said, "No, I have a poop coming." He just said, "Well, more room for ice cream then," which I think was pretty dope for someone being paid basically nothing to work at Applebee's. My 4-year-old son kept peeing on the toilet seat because he wouldn't hold his penis. I told him he had to start holding it and his response was, "I can't hold it because it's too big." What a Chad. My 6-year-old son recently put his foot down, letting me know it was not okay for me to tell him what he could wear or not because he is allowed to have his own fashion. Okay, fine. Shorts, sandals and 1 black sock it is. I contemplated having a button made that said "I dressed myself today" for my children to proudly wear, them not realizing it was mostly so other adults would stop judging me for my kids' fashion choices. If it makes you feel any better, I automatically assume any oddly dressed child that I see has dressed themselves that day. Whenever I see it I always throw some positive good for you vibes to both the parents and the kid. "Katie, you have to eat 3 more green beans before you're excused." "No, no more." "3 more. I'm gonna eat 4 more." "Oh no, you got me good." My son was in the tub and asked exactly how old he was. Me, about 4 years, 10 months, and 4 days. After a few moments of deep thought, I heard him say quietly and reverently to himself, "And I haven't been bit by a single wild animal." Oh man. Still kills me. My nephew is 4 and thinks he's cooler than everyone else because he can tuck in his shirt by himself. Not my kid, but a friend of mine was trying to teach his daughter to pick up her toys when she was younger. When she didn't do it one time, he told her he was going to throw away everything that was still on the floor. She picked them up and put them in the trash can for him. My son did something similar. When he was being punished, my wife took every toy, out of his room with him screaming and protesting the entire while. When she was done, he had the fucking temerity to say, "You forgot my books." I thought my wife was going to stroke out. My 4-year-old does this to me. Told her I was going to throw her toys out if she didn't pick them up, and she responded with, "That's fine mummy, I understand," and then put them in the rubbish herself. My toddler just threw her dinner on the floor, started clapping, yelled hooray as loudly as her little lungs could possibly allow, then looked right at me holding up her palm for a high five. When my son was potty training, I started letting him do the cleanup, then I'd have to finish. After a bit of this, he figured he was pretty well good to go on his own, and he was very big boy about it. So for the next couple of weeks, he'd do his thing, which always included stripping naked, then come running out to wherever I was, bend over with his cheeks spread, and shout, "Hey, mom, I wiped my butt all by myself, look it." Mine can't do this, so she comes out and bends over with her shit covered ass in the air ready for me to wipe. Yeah, he did that. Does she walk out backwards, too? I was always terrified he'd trip and grind that shit right into the carpet. Had an Amber Alert hit my phone one night while my then 6-year was playing a game on it. She asks what that was, and I explained it's a message that gets sent out of a kid gets kidnapped. She looks at it again and sees it's for a town over 2 hours from where we live. She then asks me why they sent to if it's so far away. I said because they want everyone to look and find the kid. Well, don't you want everyone to look if you got kidnapped? They want to find the kid so they don't get killed. She leans over close to my ear and whispers, "I'm very difficult to kill."